Hey, thanks for coming by to watch this video. It's Nick from Poised and Balanced. I practice and teach in central West London. I also now teach online. I'm going to take you through a system of restorative movements that will help to create mobility, freedom and flow in the body. So we're going to start by going onto the floor. And as always, one of the principal things you want to be looking out for is what's happening to the relationship of the spine, neck and head in any movement. Am I pulling down in stature? Am I creating compression and tension in the body? So as I come down onto the floor, I'm going to come into a lunge. So just coming down into the lunge, and you can see that I'm lengthening up through the spine, thinking of that one of the most important joints in the body, the atlas occipital joint, the head floating up on top of the tip of the spine. And then I'm going to start releasing down, so I'm just going to come into this seated position, but as I'm coming down you can still see I'm thinking up through the spine. And then we're just going to transition onto the floor, so most of this sequence is using the ground, using the gravity, using the body's amazing ability to unravel and restore and heal itself, and using our conscious intention. Our conscious intention is one of the most powerful energies in the world. So I'm going to bring this support underneath the head. And I'm going to create the intention of giving myself this attention, giving my body some self-care and love. I'm going to tune into myself. I'm going to tune into what is the most beautiful instrument in the world. And when I tune into my body and I release some of that built up tension that most of us unconsciously carry, we're not even aware that we carry most of the tension that we hold in the body, be it emotional tension, trauma, mental stress, just the sheer physical act of doing everything we do every day. We hold so much tension in the body. So the constructive rest that I show in other videos is really amazing for that, where we're just being still, allowing the body's innate healing system to bring itself back into homeostasis. So taking a couple of deep breaths, letting the body settle into the ground, thinking of giving yourself this quality, nourishing, healing time. Making the adjustments so you feel comfortable. Hopefully you've got no distractions. I'm just going to let my arms fall out to the side so I can just begin to feel the whole of my spine lengthening. The spine's not normally much longer than we think it is, right from the tailbone. But even the pelvis is a continuation of the spine, really. The pelvis is connected to the spine. So I can feel my pelvis, the spine, the lower back, all the way up through the upper back. So I'm just letting the body settle down before I go into this restorative sequence. And now I'm just going to have the hands come above my head, or my arms come above the head, but I'm going to do it in such a way that I'm just starting to move the fingers, the hands, the wrists, the forearm, very gently and easily. The upper arms and the shoulders. Now I'm going to work into the side of the ribs. Breathing into the shoulders, so if you feel tight anywhere, you can breathe into that tension. Imagine the breath coming to the extremities. So I can feel the breath coming up into my shoulders, coming up into the arms, right into the fingers. I can imagine that breath fueling and feeding the spine, that breath coming into my feet. I can feel the weight dropping, I can feel the foot, the weight spreading evenly between the heel and the ball of the foot, the inside ridges and the outside ridges. My eyes, I've got a soft gaze, a soft focus, jaws releasing, facial muscles are soft. Think of smiling. This is very gentle and restorative. And when you're smiling, it tells your physiology, it tells your psychology that you must be safe, everything's okay because you're smiling. So I've got that lovely upper limb mobility, and that gives a really nice opening to the ribs, to the back, to the shoulders. And then I'm just going to gently float the arms up towards the sky. And I'm just going to think of the shoulders releasing down as the fingers and the arms float up. And then I'm going to rotate the shoulders, or rotate the hands rather. I'm going to rotate the hands, and that movement goes right down into the wrist, the forearm, all the way into the upper arm. It's like rotating right down into the shoulders. So the arms love that movement. If you get bursitis, carpal tunnel syndrome, some sort of repetitive ache or strain, this is a lovely movement to really release into those muscles. And you get two bones there, the ulna and the radius. When we rotate like that, they deviate over each other, and it helps for all the tissue, tendons and ligaments to release. And then I'm going to give myself a hug. So the purpose of the hug is to give myself that self-care, that self-love. I call it the 5 A's, giving myself attention, affection, appreciation, acknowledgement. So just giving yourself a hug. Attention, affection, acceptance, appreciation and acknowledgement. So you're tuning into your body, the most beautiful instrument in the world. And then I'm going to fold the arms, so the left arm was on top. I'm going to rotate them again. I'm using the thumb and the little finger to rotate the hands, so that sort of guides and drives the movement. Then I'm going to fold the left arm, I'm going to fold the right arm on top rather. So just reversing that, breathing into the heart center, breathing into the shoulders. The feet are plugged and rooted, the knees, the legs are floating up towards the sky, the pelvis is sinking down. I've got two other containers, which is the pelvis, that's the first container, or one of the containers, and I've got the ribs, which are another container, and the head. And then I'm going to float the arms back up and just let the arms release. So it's like just dropping everything and releasing everything down. Then I'm going to draw the knees up towards the chest in such a way that I'm not tightening the neck muscles. I'm continuing to think of releasing the neck muscles. And just to ensure the neck muscles are releasing, you can just let the head rock from side to side. And in fact, do that right in the beginning. Just let the head rock from side to side. So you get that full range of movement. It's almost like my eyes are just guiding the head. Drawing the knees towards my chest, then I'm just going to rock and just do a little rock in the pelvis, the lower back. So I'm massaging the back, doing a few circles. And going both ways. And I'm going to place the hands on the knees and do some wider circles. So that big ball and socket joint that feeds into the hip hinge joint, ball and socket joint, that loves perpetual smooth movement. The body loves perpetual smooth movement. And when you get that lovely movement, it's like creates that motion, that smooth perpetual motion creates like a lotion in the hips. And that lotion in the hips is like injecting oil. It's like taking your body, It's like taking your car into the tuning garage to have your body tuned up. So that we get very locked and stuck in the hips. And that's why I do these restorative movements using the ground and the gravity, the breath. So as I'm doing that, I'm breathing in, so I'm just going to go into some internal rotation, so we're just crossing the knees over each other and just drawing the legs towards me. Breathing into the back, that breath is coming in through my nose. I'm breathing down into the body, thinking of the spine extending, elongating, so that breath is waving along the spine, cascading and helping to awaken the spine. Then I'm going to do the other side. So that internal rotation. And then what I'm going to do is place the right ankle on the left thigh and just extend the leg up. So I'm releasing that posterior chain of muscles that runs from the base of the skull all the way down through the neck, all the way along the spine, through the back, extending up into the hamstrings, rotating the ankle, pointing and flexing the foot. So just getting some movement there. Imagine breathing into the extremities of the body. So as that breath comes in through my nose, it's waving along the spine. It's helping, I'm inviting those muscles to release in the back. Breathing into, if it feels tight anywhere, in any of those muscles, like in the hamstrings, the calf muscles, you can just imagine breathing into those muscles and think of those muscles softening, unraveling, dissolving, the tension dissipating. Then I'm just going to reverse that. And sometimes if you can just maybe just draw the knees towards you so you're still working into that hip flexor, then we're going to do the other side. So you can just draw the knee in towards your chest. And I can really feel these the adductors, the IT band. I can feel the quadriceps. I can feel the hip really opening nicely. Then I can draw that leg up. Sometimes this is really nice to do with a band. So if you've got really tight hamstrings, you can place that belt on the ball of the foot. Don't let the foot buckle inwards or outwards. And then I can just draw. I can just draw on that, and that really helps to work into those tight hamstrings. And again, you can think of just rotating the ankle, pointing and flexing the foot. And then what I'm going to do is bring the feet together and just let the hips fall out. And again, I'm breathing into the body, always harnessing the breath. One of the primary things to think of is you're going to keep thinking of the torso, neck and head expanding, extending, the breath accompanying the movement. So you're really present to the breath. You're really present to the body. You're really starting to listen to the body, to feel the body, to start working with the body. And when you start listening to the body will start working with you. So you're learning to collaborate, communicate, and cooperate the body. And when you do that, the body will serve you tirelessly. It will work with you. It will be playing a really good tune. So what we're going to do now is place the feet again back in that neutral position, and we're just going to gently peel up the tailbone. So we're just going to do some pelvic tilts in such a way where you can feel each segment of the spine. So I peeled up the tailbone, the coccyx, the sacrum, the lumbar, going up into the thoracic spine. So the biggest blind spot in the body is the back. Most of us ignore the back, and we say something like, my back is killing me. What we're doing here is building that proprioception, so I can take in the imprint. I can start to feel the quality, the tone of my back. Some parts of your back are going to feel a little bit hazy and foggy, and you can't really feel them. But the more you start to develop eyes in your body, the more you start to tune into your body, the more you're going to start to feel the body, and the more your body, that intelligent, intuitive part of yourself, which is the human body, is that sixth sense, that gut feeling, that intuition. Your body's going to be saying, wow, this person's listening to me. They're connecting with me. They're tuning in. Then you're going to start creating that wholeness and that healing, that sense of being connected. So rolling up through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, you can feel each vertebra opening out, and it's like that wave-like, oscillating, undulating movements. The body loves those sort of movements. Now we're just going to let the hips, the legs rather, fall to the left. So we're just going to do another spinal twist. So all these movements the spine loves. Just going to let the head just roll to the opposite side. So the knees are going to fall, the left head's going to fall to the right. Breathing into these muscles here. These are all accessory breathing muscles. So you want all these muscles to start mobilizing, to becoming the spine, the ribs to become really springy, and all the muscles to start opening out. So we get this three-dimensional movement in the spine. We get this space between the lower ribs and the hip bone. So you can hang up there for a bit. Then I'm going to reverse that. So the knees are going to turn to the right. Head's going to turn to the left, so you're getting that lovely gentle twist all the way through the spine, that lovely spiral movement. Often just put the opposite hand on the opposite leg, so right hand on the left knee, letting the head just roll to the side. Letting that breath fuel the body. And as we start breathing deeply, what it does is you get that lovely springy movement in the ribs that massages all the organs. And that massage in the organs brings us back into balance. It rests the body. The body knows it's being restored and healed. We go into that part of the nervous system that's called parasympathetic, which means rest and digest and repair, because the body feels safe, it feels supported, I'm breathing deeply. Then the body knows that it wants to heal. So it sends that cascade of chemical hormones, which are all the healing ones. The relaxin, the serotonin, the oxytocin, the endorphins, all the healing chemicals. Because the body isn't under any stress. When we're under stress, then the adrenal glands that sit on top of the kidneys that are in the lower back, they start pumping adrenaline, and that's what we call sympathetic, where the body's in fight and flight. It can even be where it can be a positive stress, but the body is not in this restorative state. And most of the time we're not. Most of the time we're in some sort of stressful state. So I'm just going to roll up, and we're just going to come up onto all fours, and just think of that alignment through the spine. And if you think about it, when we all started our sort of developmental process, we started off in the womb with that primary curve. And then we started to push and to yield and to pull, and we got up onto all fours, and then we started to come up into upright, onto walking. So what we're going to do here is just start off with that primary curve, and then we're just going to draw up the pelvic floor, sucking the abdominal muscles. So we're doing that classic cat stretch, and then we're going to reverse that. So we're just got that, we're hammocking the back, and suck up those pelvic floor muscles. They're the muscles between the anus and the genitals. For men it's good, apparently we're massaging the prostate gland. For women it's really good, particularly if they've given birth to children. Those muscles get really lax, and they actually help with postural support. You've got a few domes in the body, and they're one of them. The principal dome in the body is the diaphragm. So just going to roll back into that primary curve. And what I'm going to do now is just demonstrate those curves again. This is a lovely oscillating
wave-like movement, and you can see that I'm coming up into that primary curve, then I come up and then the secondary curve, and then
I come up into those 4 curves.
so let me just do that again. I was just feeling the movement, so I'll speak you through it. This is the tailbone, the sacrum. So I can feel that sacrum, tailbone, the lower back. Then you can see me opening up those secondary curves, the lower back, then the thoracic spine, the mid-spine, then coming up into the cervical spine, the head. And you can see me coming to that primary curve again. So it's a really beautiful restorative movement. And try not to let the head get ahead of itself, because what will typically happen is the head will want to go too far forward and get ahead of itself. Like that. So now I'm going to just come back into that forward tabletop. I'm just going to do a few circles in the hips. It's like a happy puppy dog's tail, where the dog is wagging its tail, like that. Crawling is a brilliant thing to do. I'm going to show that on another video. Yeah, we don't spend enough time crawling, and if you want, you could even introduce a balancing sequence there, but that's we won't do that in this video. So we're just going to try and make that transition now to come up onto all 4s. So to come back up into standing. So I'm just going to brush 1 foot forward. Again, this is a lunge. It's almost like the way we came down. So you can, if you want to do a couple of lunges before you come up, you can do those. Again, that's working into the hip joint. You don't really want the knee to go over the line of the foot. And then what I'm going to do is brush that back foot forward, and I'm just going to place them together. A squat, normally I'd go into a squat, so we just come into the middle of the video so you can see me. Normally I go into a squat a day keeps the osteopath away, and as I'm doing that squat, the squat is such a healthy, functional, nutritious movement. There's squats in my other videos of how to mobilize the body, because it's never what you do, it's the way you do it. And so what I'm going to do from here is just gently roll up into a forward, just let the body hang out there, and I'm going to roll up into upright, so all the joints are stacking up on top of each other. And now I've got the gravity working in a completely different way. So when I'm upright, I'm still using those elements of the ground, the gravity, the body's innate system that's designed to take you up against gravity. It's called the anti-gravitational system, and it's normally gets activated when the plantar reflexes, when my feet are really rooted into the ground, and I'm really using the ground, really utilizing the ground, and that inbuilt system that's designed to take me up against gravity. I've got the deep bone strength, the integrity of the bones. As a culture, we get so fixated on thinking that we need to tighten our core muscles. We need to sort of hold our shoulders back. We need to be doing all these things. In the Alexander technique, it's about undoing all those habits that you think you need to do in order to maintain and sustain good posture. We don't even use the word good posture because it implies that you've got to fix yourself, you've got to be doing something. When you think of a child just stands there, or it's just playing, or it's just moving, and it's not having to do anything to hold itself up. There's a natural inbuilt system that if we know how to awaken it, and that just means undoing some of those habits. And that's what the Alexander technique is about, is undoing all those various habits that we've accumulated over a lifetime of often poor use. And underneath all those habits is like that childlike quality, or what you often see in more indigenous tribes and cultures, where you can just move with that sense of a sweet spot, and you can move much more effortless and freely and with much more presence. So thanks for watching the video, and if you like it, subscribe or send me a comment or a message, and it'd be great to hear from you. Thank you.